Now, as I promised earlier, Dan's been talking to ex-Bis star Manda Rin. Bis were the first ever unsigned band to play on Top of the Pops, and to be honest, I can't think of any other unsigned bands who played on Top of the Pops. I don't know any. And when they split up in 2003, Dan, along with a lot of other people, was really pissed off. But hooray! In 2005, the three of them got back together, and along with the bassist and a real-life drummer, they started a new band called Data Panik. Dan started by asking Manda whether their drum machine was permanently retired or just on holiday.
The actual drum machine's retired quite a long time ago, actually, because even towards the end of this, it was all kind of just samples of real drums all kind of sequenced together.
Oh.
So yeah, they're just sort of hiding away at the moment, but we still actually use kind of sequencing and samples with the drummer, so he's not lonely.
Right, I get it. So how have people been liking the new band? You've just been on tour recently.
Yeah, it was kind of a hard one in the beginning, I suppose, because we didn't know what people would think, how they would kind of compare it to all the best things, and how it would be taken, really. But that little tour there, it was just two London gigs and a Leeds one. That's the first time I've come back and I've really felt like it was really moving somewhere, that everyone was getting, severely into it and getting to know songs, and we're getting invited back by every club that we'd played to do more gigs. So it's very exciting. I feel like it's, well worth the big decision of stopping Bis to do this now.
Yeah, I know that you've been doing other things like since Bis, but does being Data Panik feel a lot like being Bis?
It does, yeah. We've tried out other things. John and Stephen had Dirty Hospital, their techno project, which is still doing now and then, and I'd done The Kitchen, which is a more kind of rocky thing. But see, getting back working with John and Stephen again, it's just brilliant. It just felt like sort of going back to working with the people you're meant to be. It's a really good feeling, and playing live on stage, just having sort of two of them to my side and having my side back on the stage as well. That's been a good thing.
Having your side?
I like being in the left. I don't like being in the middle. I like to think no one's looking at me.
Is there anything special in the name Data Panik?
No, we did struggle for a long, long time to get a new name. We asked fans for suggestions. We'd come up with several rubbishy kind of ones, confusing ones, and Data Panik was from the Perubu album name, so it just came from that. Stephen was a big fan of Perubu, so we just thought, that'll do.
I noticed you have a special Data Panik uniform. Can you describe that for anyone who doesn't see?
Yeah, they've changed slightly since the beginning, but all moving on very well. The four boys always have black trousers, baseball shoes, a coloured belt, which matches the colour of their tie, and a shirt with the DP patch on it. And the new uniforms which we just had on that trip were black shirts with yellow ties and a yellow belt, and it has our names in a wee kind of oval-shaped patch, American kind of styly sort of bowling shirt kind of looking thing, and then the DP on the sleeve. So we'll have them probably for sale in our merchandise quite soon, and then I'll usually have a dress colour coordinated with whatever they're wearing. So it's going good so far. I'm just fed up. I've seen too many bloke bands with just a t-shirt and jeans on stage, so it's nice to see them make an effort, even if they do smell very badly after a lot of gigs.
Brilliant. You've said in other places that you're influenced by Japanese bands like Polysix, so we like Polysix a lot.
Yay!
Do you think that kind of Japanese influence shows up in your music?
Not too sure. I know John was always a fan of YMO, as is Stuart in the band, and I've been more into things like Polysix and a lot of kind of quirkier, shoutier kind of Japanese bands. So I don't think I would say it's hard to categorise Japanese music. I'd say that certain ones are an influence, like people at YMO, but I wouldn't say as a whole. I don't think J-pop's like the biggest thing for it.
I mean, do you think there's a particular reason that Japan produces all this brilliant pop music?
They seem quite daring with a lot of their stuff, and the venues over there always just seem to be absolutely perfect. The sound is always so good. The people just seem to be so into it. So I don't know if it's because they have less pressures and they have more dedicated fans that they just go for it. I'm really not sure, but they're very lucky. It's a very, very enjoyable place to go and watch gigs. I've been to Japan so much recently just because I can't get enough of it.
I remember Biss playing at a Ladyfest event.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Ladyfest is a kind of festival that aims to improve women's place in music and the arts by putting on a kind of, community-driven festival of brilliant stuff. And just because you have had an association with it, I wanted to ask what you thought about all that. Do you think it's still necessary, that kind of thing?
I think it's a fantastic thing, and it's done so much for so many people. I think a lot of people get very lazy about thinking about women's involvement in music and just think, I don't need to worry about it anymore. But remember, there's a new generation coming up who need that help, who need that inspiration. And if I didn't have it from all the kind of riot girl bands around at the time I started music, I don't know what I would have done. So I think it's really important, and I will always support it, whether it's going along to workshops and telling people about my experiences and giving them my advice. Whether it's any use or not, I don't know, but I think it's definitely worth a shot.
Do you think? It's probably fair to say that you're something of a role model for women in music, because of all the stuff that you do. I mean, do you think there are other women around at the moment who are particularly good role models for the next generation?
Well, that's a very nice compliment. I don't feel like I kind of fully deserve it because I've not really done anything, especially recently. And as for people, for the upcoming generations to look up to, I don't know. It is a tough one, because the amount of female bands about at the moment, they are increasing. There's a lot more kind of getting into chart kind of territory, whether it's bands like Be Your Own Pet and people like that. But it's still that whole kind of people considering musicians, people like Coldplay and just kind of the lads in the band kind of thing, and not really taking girls seriously and feeling that they have to look a certain way and act a certain way. But seeing people like Alison from Goldfrapp, the age that she is and what she does, it's incredibly inspiring. So I think there should be a lot more people like that, and I hope there's going to be a lot more in years to come.
That was Manda Rin talking to Dan there. If you want to find out more about Data Panik, their website is